my idea is to have a strong national defense and to get this budget under control, reject the notion that we need to run an empire. We can't afford it. It's going to come down. It always comes down. It has come down all throughout history.
I don't really want to fight against any other country when we don't even need to be in their country, and when we can be protecting our country.
How about just stay home and take care of what's going on here and quit trying to dominate the world and dominate the world's resources, you know. That's why we're quote unquote unsafe. I think if you even want to buy that we're unsafe, it's because, you know, we have 700 military bases. We have, you know, we're occupying 130 countries around the world basically. You know what I mean? It's madness. It's imperialism. And imperial empires always fall. They never work. You know, history has proved that. You know, I think Gandhi was the one who said, you know, that famous quote of his, I don't remember the exact words, but think of it, you know, empires fail. They always fail. And this one will too.
Right. We're in 130 countries. We have 700 bases.
We're in more than three-quarters of the countries of the world. That's called occupation.
Our military now is in worse shape than it was 5 years ago, according to our military. So it's time we look at the strategic, the philosophical problems. And I say, unless we do this, this will end badly. It's going to end with a major economic crisis. It's going to be worldwide, and we here at home will suffer, not only economically, but inevitably, under these conditions, the people lose their liberty. And our liberties are being eroded every single day that we're here.
We've lost a lot of our civil rights already. Just to name one, habeas corpus.
Did you know habeas corpus, our rights to having, well, the right to know why you've been arrested has been taken away? Did you know that the government can come in now and arrest you if they decide they want to? They can hold you without giving you counsel?
Whether I like it or not, George Bush is my president. And if I don't say anything, if I don't stand up against him, then I'm one of the bad Germans that didn't do anything when the Nazis came to power. And I mean that literally. I'm not using that metaphorically. I believe that we're moving toward fascism really quickly.
In an event of emergency, they can round us all up and put us in jail. There's executive orders in the book going back since Kennedy that if you wind them all up, if you take the logical sum of all of that, we can be rounded up and thrown in prisons, concentration camps, if you will.
Anybody who does not believe that, get on the train, because they've been building camps now all over the country. They have two big ones in Arizona.
First thing this morning, the president signed into law the Military Commissions Act of 2006, which does away with habeas corpus, the right of suspected terrorists or anybody else to know why they have been imprisoned, provided the president does not think it should apply to you and declares you an enemy combatant. Further, the bill allows the CIA to continue using interrogation techniques so long as they do not cause what is deemed, quote, serious physical or mental pain. And it lets the president to ostensibly pick and choose which parts of the Geneva Convention to obey. Though to hear him describe this repudiation of the freedoms for which all our soldiers have died, is a good thing. Leading Democrats view it differently. Senator Ted Kennedy calling this seriously flawed. Senator Patrick Leahy saying it's, quote, a sad day when the rubber stamp Congress undercuts our freedoms. And Senator Russ Feingold adding that we will look back on this day as a stain on our nation's history.
Ron Paul has been serious education for me, and not only in the political process, but what economics really look like in our country, how fast we're going downhill, how fast the American dollar is losing its value, and how much of a debtor nation we are.
One of the contentions I've had about the budget is that we look at it as an accounting problem rather than a philosophy problem, because the spending occurs because of what we accept as the proper role of government. And right now, it's assumed by the country as well as the Congress that the proper role of government is to run our lives, run the economy, run the welfare state, and police the world. and all of a sudden it puts a lot of pressure on the budget.
When you have the government taking care of you crib to crib, as the what we call in the left or the socialists, that's their goal here, then you become a chattel or property of the government. However, on the other hand, if you don't depend on the government, and preferably for nothing, but anyway, the less you depend on the government, the more the government belongs to you.
You're right. And that's what the Constitution says, is that government belongs to the people don't belong to the government. So when they start passing laws about, national ID card, that's them owning us. That's not protecting our personal privacy. That's doing nothing for the average citizen except harassing them, and it's shredding our personal memories.
That's right. And on the back of your little real ID or your new driver's license that you'll be getting after April, here in just a few months, you're going to see a hologram. And on that hologram is a picture of the North American Union. Not the United States, the North American Union. That's right. We're headed towards one world government.
Well, supposedly it's the North American Union, where President Bush and Mexico and Canada, their leaders have signed a deal where they're going to make it basically just one country.
It was an agreement signed just about 3 years ago as of last month that they drew up. This is President Bush and the Canadians and the Mexicans.
I mean, I would be concerned, but I'm not sure the whole thing's credible.
You're meant to be kept in the dark.
They don't want us to know this stuff because we would be outraged if we knew what was going on. And that's how I feel these days. I feel outraged, and it feels like a monster. It feels like, this big giant dragon, that is so difficult to slay, and we only have a few swords, but if we keep spreading the word, and if we keep educating people and letting them know that you can't always trust what the media says, you need to look into things yourself. There are different viewpoints, different alternative sources for information.
We mentioned the media. You said the media doesn't want us to know that, and I think part of that's true. Part of it too is that the media itself doesn't know a lot of these things. The media is kind of like entertainment, music. It's like, the popular bands are these bands, and on the radio we're going to play these songs, and we're only going to play these songs, and we're going to play these songs over and over again until you like it, whether you like it or not. And that's how you create your music culture. And the news is similar. We're going to present these talking heads to deliver this news, and we're going to do it over and over again, whether you like it or not, until you like it. And that's what's going to become normal, because that's what people will identify with. But the underground scene, just like with underground music, that's where a lot of times the best music is. It's the music that's never heard. And with the news, some of the most interesting news and the most important news is the news that's never heard.
Bush, Fox, and of course Canadian Prime Minister Paul Martin were the originators of the so-called Security and Prosperity Partnership, which critics call nothing more than a North American Union. It means open borders, commerce at all cost, and by the way, without the approval of either American voters or the U.S. Congress.
Critics say foreign policy elites are promoting a European-style union, erasing borders between the three countries, and eventually moving to a single North American currency called the Amero.
For any American to think that it is acceptable for the President of the United States and this executive department of his government, his administration, our government, to proceed without the approval of Congress or a dialogue and a debate and a public voice from the people of this country is absolutely unconscionable.
The defense of those folks who are saying that they're involved with the SPP is that they're not doing anything that would require congressional approval or voter approval. They're just harmonizing the regulations between the three countries.
What they're doing is creating a brave new world, an Orwellian world, in which the will of the people is absolutely irrelevant.
That'll be it, guys. The end of America as we know it.